And I have this old sign from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just gonna reuse it. So I'm gonna lay it on here and trace over it to put my design on here. Okay, make sure I can see it. Make sure it's showing up. Yep, sure is. So I'm gonna trace over it, and then we're gonna paint it in. I love looking on like the clearance aisles at like Hobby Lobby and places like Michael's, because sometimes you can find some pretty cheap deals, and this happened to be some of them. I stocked up on them because they were like $3 a piece or something like that. They were super cheap years ago, and so I just grabbed them, and now I use them to paint on, and I just cover up what's on the background. So I'm going to just trace this off. Just to kind of get my basic shape. I'll add all this back in later, but for now. And this is like an 8x10 like drawing, but it is. I'll leave off half my lines, but what else? I can add them back in, no worries. Okay, so I have my little lines on here, and I know it's probably hard for you, but I'm gonna cover all this up first to where I can't see all this background stuff, because we're gonna cover all that up. We don't want all that. We ain't trying to have all that. So let me get some white first. And I'm actually gonna use a little bit of blue in with the sky. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use blue too. Just add a little bit in there. Not a lot, but just a smidge. Okay, let me get a brush. I don't want it to be, all right. This is probably too dark, but it's okay. I can go back and lighten it up. So I'm just gonna go around my church with the blue. And I mean, you can take the frame off, but this is a great way just to get like a really nice framed piece of art without having to buy a frame. And literally I paid, I don't know how the price on here, because I don't have it, it's not on here, but I think it was like, I took off the sides, I can't remember, I think it was like $3, like $3.50 or something like that. So you can't get that cheap at the Goodwill. So I'm gonna go in and just paint in the background with this blue. Of course, it's gonna take multiple coats, but it'll cover pretty fast. So I just wanna get the blue on here. I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit because this is too blue, but we just need a first coat to work so we can start working on our church. So not too worried about the steeple. I'll put it, or the cross on top, I'll put it on a little bit later. So all that's gonna be green. This will be green, kind of going down over this way. Yeah. Okay, so let's let that sit for a little bit while we take a little bit of green and work on some of the like grass down here to kind of fill that in. I'll come back and like make it look more better, but this is just what we start with, okay? This is the starting point. And I'm wanting this to be like sort of muted, like pastel kind of vibes. That's what I'm going for, but. So I'm just gonna paint all this in right here. And I've got my picture to kind of look at over here, like my tracer, just so I can kind of remember where my lines were, just in case I happen to lose a few of them as I'm painting. That's my little walkway, and we'll keep that. And of course I'm gonna do a white church just because, you know, I might make it look a little rustic, but I'm gonna do a white church. Now you can start by like kills in this, like several coats on there, but I don't got time for all that. So I just go straight into painting, and I know I can come back and, you know, touch up where I need to touch up. I don't stress over that because I'm gonna dry and it'll be fine. It will be fine. Okay, so next we want to do some white on the church. Listen, I never said I was professional. I just said we're gonna paint, you know? So I'm just gonna go in and put a coat on here because I'm gonna be able to see like all of my lines through this white for at least the first few coats. So I'm just gonna go in and put a coat of white where the church part would be, okay? I actually forgot to draw the line there for the church, but that's fine. I know what you're thinking. Actually, it's going to take 8 million coats, but it really won't. I'm going to dry this and then go in and do another coat. It'll go really fast. It'll cover really good. I have a green chalkboard I use too sometimes that I got several of those from Hobby Lobby that have writing on them, and they work just as good too. Okay. I think I'm going to do the doors like brown, but I can put a coat of white on them. It ain't going to hurt them. And I'm going to do my little steps like gray. So let's just go ahead and put a coat on the walkway, even though we're going to do it a different color. And I'm not going to worry about the roof because we're going to do it. I think I'm going to do it like a dark brown. So I want to do like I'm going to take a piece of this to use as my palette here. Piece of this paper. And a smidge of black. Hey, Gina. This is one of our Art Girls ones. So I thought I'd come live and paint it today because I'm working on getting like painted ones for all of y'all. I think Kim had asked in the group about having painted versions of all of the tracers. I'm like, oh, might take a while, but we'll get there. So okay, so I'm just adding in. So I thought I'd hop on live and paint one live. At least so you'll have one to look at from this month. And everybody can kind of see what y'all get in the group. I love this one. When I was drawing this one, I was like, ooh, I cannot wait to paint that one because I love like an old country church. I love that. If I see one out somewhere, I'm taking a picture of it. It's just what I do. Okay. See how good that brown covers? I mean, it's really hard to see anything on that brown. Hey, Jody. Hey, Karen. Trying to go back. Sorry, I wasn't really paying attention. Hey, Denise. Okay, so let's just blast this right quick with the blow dryer real quick. Won't take but just a second. My blow dryer's underneath my feet over here. I still have not got around to cleaning my studio up yet, but you know. Okay. I started reorganizing it, but honestly, I've just been like in this weird funk recently, and I don't know what's wrong with me. It's not my typical me, but just been on the struggle bus a little bit. So I started organizing it, and that's as far as I've gotten, you know. So stuff's just all in the floor, and it's a wreck, and you know, I think we all go through those days, those times. But I had somebody tell me that my iron could be low. So I'm like, maybe I need to go get my iron checked. See how that covered up those words is so good? Oh my gosh. Like, didn't even have to worry about like multiple coats. And I mean, when it dries, there may be a few places, but I'm actually going to come back and add a little bit more white in there for like some streaky clouds and all that. But I just kind of paint sort of messy, and then I go back and like clean it up and make it look like something. I'll add my cross back on top of my church later. Okay, so we got like our background in. Okay, I'm gonna take just a little bit of this white here and just kind of brush in some like clouds. This would be really pretty with like a scripture on it. I just like streakiness. I just like paint with some streaks. Just be streaking it up. When I first started painting, literally that's all I painted was canvas. And then, you know, by default, you kind of pivot with like door hangers and stuff because people got tired of painting and they were like, I can't put any, you know, there's a lot of people that just love to paint for the sake of painting, and then there's some that are just for painting just to do it, you know, seasonally or whatever. But it got to be when I had my studio that people were like, well, I can't put all these paintings in my house, and I'm like, I know. So I ended up like switching to you know, more like door hangers and that kind of stuff, just because out of necessity, like people no longer were like, we don't need any more canvases, we need something different now. So we transitioned to some wood and things like that. But this is, I love to just sit and paint. It's very therapeutic. If you haven't tried it, you should. Oh, I need to paint my door too. I'll go back in and do that, but I was just trying to put another coat of white on there because the white's going to take a little bit more than the gray to cover. So, or the blue, I should say. And of course, I'll go back and work on this. I just want to get like it basically painted in, and then we'll add like the details and make it all pretty and stuff. But for the time being, I definitely got to get the background covered, okay? But we're getting there. It's looking really good so far. It's looking really good. Okay, I need to do the ground with the green again. And I'm gonna add a little bit of white to this, just to like, and I'm gonna add like some different shades of green because I have like bushes and then I have like grass. So I wanna like do them different, but for the time being, I'm just painting it all in, and we'll come back and like add all the details, like I said. But the biggest thing is I just wanna get it painted. Little bushes on at the church here. Okay. And then we'll do this. That looks like that second coat. After I do this, I should be good to let that dry and then work on that. Adding the different tones of green and shades in there. Okay. All right. So let's paint the door in brown because we do need that brown color on the door too, because I forgot to do that earlier. Yeah, I'm gonna do like a little window at the top of it, I think, like a little transom window. And I'm kind of feeling like I need, oh shoot, dropped my brush. I'm kind of feeling like I need to do like an outline around the windows, but I think I'm gonna wait and do that with like, after I do like the, what you call it, the stained glass in there. I need like a little small tiny brush, not a big brush, a little tiny one. Thought I had one, here we go. Let me wash, rinse, dry that off. Let's dry this church though right quick so that it is good and dry, because we do need to make sure that it's dry. I know we can still see some of like the, hey, all right, so I'm going to go in here and do the stained glass, I think. Yeah, let's do that first. So I'm gonna use, what colors do I want to do? Let's do like, maybe like a little bit of pink. Not that much pink, I use way too much. And I'm gonna use blue and maybe a little yellow. Maybe just like a little bit of yellow. Yeah, not a lot. I got, those bottles squirt so much paint out. I'm so wasteful. All right, so I'm gonna come in with the pink and let's just dab. Gonna dab all around with the pink and this little brush. This will make sense in a minute. I know it looks kind of crazy, but I'm gonna use a little bit of this white. I might go in there and wet it just a little bit. Okay, then I'm gonna do the blue. So I'm gonna pick up some of this blue. I'm gonna dab that in. It looks kind of messy, but it looks like a stained glass when you get done. Yes, it does. And I'm just filling up that whole like little like space that would be the window. And I'll come back and like frame it out with like the brown to do like a little frame. And I'm gonna pop in just a little bit of yellow. Not a lot. I don't want it to be real bright. So I'm trying to like tone it down a little bit. I'm not real big on yellow. Like, I mean, I like yellow, but it's not my favorite. Okay. All right, so there is our little windows. And then I want to take this and I want to, let me get a rag and wipe off the excess. Clean off the brush because I want to go around the edge with like the brown to make like a little frame. So I gotta do this with a small brush, and I could use a paint pen, but we're painting. We're not using a paint pen. We're not gonna cheat today. We're gonna paint it. So I'm gonna go around like that. And then I've got like a little line at the end. It's just like a little window frame, I guess you could say. Okay, and then I'm going to go in, even though I'm going to go back and soften this just a little bit, I'm going to add the lines in for the, because I've still got to put some more white on here, because you can see through where I painted over this particular, like, you know, picture or whatever. But I want to go in and add these lines in to create the, I guess you want to call it depth or whatever, in the roof, okay. And in the, so it, you know, you can tell, oh, there's edges to this church. Great, that's good to know. Okay, and then I need to touch up where I put sky on top of my roof here. Okay, and I'm just gonna go in and add my little cross back in up at the top, even though I'll do a little more to that later, but we're going for that right now. Okay, liking that. So let's take the white, I need the white brush, the white paint, and let's just go in and put a little bit more paint in my cup. Go in and put another little coat on here of paint, because this is still not covering up, which I kind of figured that would happen with white. Takes many coats. And I am taking the I'm just sort of going over where I did the outlines on the windows. Not to like cover it up, but just to soften it a little bit. Because I don't want it to look so perfect and harsh. I just think that makes it look a little bit more natural. And I'm trying to put this white paint on this church just a little bit thicker in the places where you can see writing. Eventually it'll get covered up, but for now, I've got to go back and do the windows up here. I forgot to do them. So it might help to my advantage that that white paint there is a little bit wet. Forgot about these windows up here. I gotta say, Ashley, you forgot the dang top windows, sis. Yay. Okay. All right, so let's go in and do the frame around the door. There's like a little arch around the door. We're gonna add that in too. I think I need a little more pink in my my stained glass on the over the door. Let's drop that in there just a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Let's paint a roof. All right, I want to add like a darker color, like on the underside right here. Then I'm going to come in and, again, I'm not going for perfection. I'm actually going to use a little bit of like black, like maybe a paint pen or a really thin marker to like really give like some structure to the sides and everything. I'm actually even going to use a little bit of white in here. Told you I like those streaks. Okay, do the same thing up here. Got a little like, we've got like 3 sections on this roof. So I've got like the front and the side and this little middle part right here. So I'm trying to create those distinct like sections. Okay, I think that might be a little too light. We can let it dry and then we can come back and work on it a little bit if it has a tendency to be lighter than what I want. But I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to use a little bit of white on this side of the roof too. Oh shoot, too much. I mean, she's looking pretty good. She's looking pretty good. Okay. So I'm going to streak in a little bit there. I do need to use the gray to add like for the steps because I need to create, because you can't just be jumping out the church. You got to walk out down the steps, sis. Oh, show. Okay, that's too much black. I'll let that soften just a little bit because I got a little heavy-handed with the black. I did, but I don't think that looks bad though. I think it works. And I'm just going to use the black and that brown and that gray to sort of add like the edge to my little walkway. And I'm going to take that and sort of use that to smear it out just a little bit. Yeah. My contacts get blurry. I'm not good at seeing stuff up close. I need some readers, but I refuse. Okay. So I'm gonna go back now over like the places where maybe like if you primed your background, which I didn't, you probably won't need to do this. Like if you just went and painted it, but you know, I just went to sketching right on top of this. I'm going over those letters with like a little bit of, these are some letters just showing through right here. I'm using like the brown that was mixed in with my brush to kind of rust up, listen to that. To make my church look a little bit more like old. And so I can use that to cover up some of the places on the church where got looking a little, I'm gonna turn it around and show it up close so you can kind of see it up close. I'm going for like a, I don't know what I'm going for. I'm just painting. I don't know what I'm going for. For it not to look crappy. That's what I'm going for. For it to not look crappy. All right, so I'm gonna add, this is like the, I wanna add like them bushes back in. So let's start here. And let's go around like right there. And let's put a little bush right there. Then maybe a little one in the back. I'm trying to follow my drawing I did over here that I traced with. like I need to get a different shade of green. Maybe just like a little bit of a brighter green right there. Not too bright though. That might be too bright. I'm not going for like Christmas bright green, but that's really bright. Well, darn. Let's take this and use a little bit of that with it. I like the sagey color. I don't want this like bright green. I ain't going for that. That's not the look I want. No, it is not. That looks pretty good. Yeah, I'll take that. That looks good. All right, so let's do the same thing over here. So I got a little bush there, and I'm gonna do a little one there. I feel like it might need a little white. Not a lot. And then I can use this to kind of create, actually that bush comes way out on my drawing. I need to look at it because I'm messing up. Eek. That's way bright. But I need to create that, like grass or whatever. Okay, so let's take this and let me look at how I did my heel. All right, so it's got like the heel in the back there. And then one that kind of comes up this way, and then one that kind of comes like that. So we're just gonna add in like a little bit of a lighter color on there. I'm liking just adding those streaks in, because I'm just not wanting it to be flat. I want it to have like some little streaks in it. I mean, you could use brown in this instance, but I ain't. I won't use that. And then I'm going to go with a little bit over here. Let me do this. I actually do need to use a little bit of brown right here underneath the edge of these bushes right here. So I just want to kind of like go around the edge right there and just create like a little bit of border. And I can even do that. I could even use a little brown. It ain't gonna hurt. I think that'll add to it. That looks good. Yeah, good choice, Ash. Okay. So then I've got like this back there that I need to add a little white to, a little streaking. Okay, so cute. Loving that. So this is what we have so far, okay, from this tracer. She looking cute. She looking real cute, okay? She looking real cute. Okay, so let's see, what do I need to do next? I kind of feel like that step is jacked, so let me fix it. I just put my tracer in my dang paint over here. Okay, so I'm missing a step right here, so I need to add it in. Try to cover it up with my what you call it? What's that thing called? Yeah, that works. All right, so let's darken that up like around the bottom right there. Put a little shadow on the church. Got a little shadow up there. I need to fix like some of these little areas here. Like right there. Just clean up like my edge. I'm not like trying to go for perfection, of course, but I do want to try to clean it up a little bit and make it make sense over here. This line right here is sort of lost. Okay. Now I want to dry it really good because I want to use the the black to like add some lines on it. So I want to dry it really good. And I feel like this needs something over here. So I think I might like letter my last name on it. I don't know. Or maybe like a Bible verse. Maybe I feel like I like the idea of like a Bible verse on it. I don't know. Let me dry it first while I think about that. Okay. Now I want to take this and just kind of like add in, let me see how thick this is going to do. The black, listen, I'm always going to put some black on my paintings. I can't help it. It is just what I do, okay? I just like that black on there. And I try not to do it too thick, but I'm just a sucker for some black, okay? This just helps to like give it just a little bit more like structure, I guess is the best word to say. That's probably not the like, I don't know, the contrast of the black. I just like it. Sorry, it makes noise, but it just helps to define the edges a little bit. And clean up my shaky hand. Why does that look like that? I feel like it needs to be like, let me look at my drawing. What did I do? I did that. Yeah. So that goes to that. And that goes to that. That makes more sense, Ash. I'm trying to add that little bit of like dark underneath the edge so it creates like a little bit of a shadow. And I mean, I can pull it down, like I can drag, I can put that wet paint pen on there and sort of pull it down with my finger. And I like how that creates like a little bit of like distressing on there. That wasn't intentional, but I kind of like the way it did. So, well, come on now. I need you to drag down. Gotta do it quick because it dries so fast. Oh yeah, but I like how that turned out. Then I can even pull up on it with like the black. So I'm gonna come in and add in like my steps. Now let's add in that. to do it quick. Okay. Let's fix my little cross up here. It got a little crazy. There we go. Okay. Loving that. Loving that. Oh, thank you, Penny. Thank you so much. I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. So just, you know, just be winging it. And hope it turns out. I needed some paint therapy today. Because I'm like, I mean, I have other things to paint. Don't get me wrong. But like, sometimes you just need to sit down and paint something just to be painting it. Because you're on the struggle bus. And I feel like that's where I'm at right now. Like I want to crawl in a hole. You ever have those days? It's the way I feel. That is literally the way I feel right now. Okay, I feel like of course it needs something because there's literally like this big blank space over here. But I don't know what to put. I don't know. I'm literally just like thinking like what would be good, and I really like the idea of like a hymn verse or something like that, or you know what I think I might put? Let me get a pencil. I don't know. Let's think. Let me think. Oh, I need to add some black right here while I think. I need to add like the line right there for like the background. I want to add like maybe, what is one of my favorite hymns or my favorite songs, or I don't know. I don't know. I can't decide. Let me do. I mean, I kind of thought it would be neat to like put like a name on there, but then I feel like that is not as pretty as. Let's do this. I'm gonna do this. What we're going with. Do I do it in black or do I do it in brown? Let's do it in black. Yeah. Because you know, sometimes you just have to say, it is well with my soul, even when it ain't. You just gotta claim it, even when it ain't. I Learned that. And I'm learning to be content in all things, as hard as that is. I don't know about you, but it's very hard sometimes for me to be content. I don't know. Because I think it's just my personality, but I'm trying to remind myself that it's okay to be where you are and be where you are. Be okay with growing or be okay with other things, but it's okay to be where you are. But sometimes it can be hard when you see yourself feeling like we're having a therapy session today. Sometimes it can feel like hard because you are like, you know, you feel like you're not moving forward and everybody else around you is. Sometimes that's how I feel. But I'm learning to embrace standing still and letting it be okay with me that I'm not moving. So there we go. I think that looks pretty good. It's not what I originally had in my brain, but I think that looks pretty good. I think that's kind of cute. Yeah. Probably a little crooked. No, it's not crooked, Ashley. You did good. Thought it was a little crooked, but I think I want to go back over that. I don't really like that marker is good, but so I'm going to go back over it with this one. To make it just a little bit more black. I don't know, that one, that marker doesn't, I like it for like small outlines and things, but sometimes it doesn't always do what I want it to do when it comes to like a text or whatever. So that is just one of the ways you can use the tracers in Art Girls and create. And there's lots in there, hundreds that you can use. Love my little church. I think it turned out pretty good. So, anywho, well, I'm glad that you hung out with me today and painted this. It was fun.